Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Nothing But Bangers, aka MBB, aka Bangers, and today I'm going to be dropping a little bit of a deck profile on a cool little brew that some people are working with, and they're actually replacing Starmie with Gyarados. But let's go ahead and take a look at this Starmie slash Druddigon slash Greninja deck. So this is the deck list that I'm working with. And kind of just to give you an idea of what this card is doing is basically it's filling your active spot and absorbing damage, potentially 2 damages, right? 2 hits, and potentially dealing 40 damage for 0 energy. Now, there are going to be times where it's going to get one shot, and that's okay. Hopefully it does that 20 damage, and then, you're able to kind of make math work out with Greninja and Starmie. Now, Druddigon is a card that is kind of interesting for a lot of reasons, but this is kind of an interesting way to use it. And again, when you take a look at the deck list that I'm using, you could easily replace the Staryu and Starmie with Gyarados, or you could just take out the Greninja line and play Gyarados. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you could mix and match it. The one thing that I notice about this deck is there's just not a ton of room for trainer cards, like flexibility wise, and so you end up playing, you pretty much can't play Misty unless you really maneuver some things around. But just to run through the deck list, 2 of the Starmie line, 2 Druddigons, 2 of the Greninja line, and then you'll notice 2 Leafs, and this is to help get your Druddigon out of the active. And then you've got double Pokeball, 1 Sabrina, 1 Giovanni to help hit that 100 damage threshold with Starmie EX. So really cool deck, but let's get to some gameplay, and that way you can check it out. Alright, so we've got the Druddigon start, Starmie on the bench here. And by the way, I do want to apologize for not getting back to people in the comments lately. There's been a ton of comments that I haven't been able to get back to, and usually I'm really quick about that, but definitely will be getting back to you guys. I hope you're enjoying, the tournament weekend as we, hopefully by the time you're watching this, it's tournament weekend, and you're enjoying, what's going on with the mini set and whatnot, some of the new additions. Do appreciate you guys tuning in and, just being a part of the community. Really cool to see, how far the channel has grown since I started doing Pokemon Pocket content, and hey, I mean, it's been a cool ride. But right here, we're not hitting Greninja line. However, if we draw Starmie, there's a chance that if they attack, we can just immediately return fire on this Wheezing, which would be huge. So we'll see how that goes. They're kind of walking right into it, which is a little strange, if I'm honest. But hey, more power to them. Yeah, so now we have the ultimate punish here. And they just kind of walked right into it. And I think part of it is because people, are not super familiar with the card interactions. But, also people are just, kind of greedy sometimes. And obviously we had to top deck the Starmie EX. But, yeah, this could easily be a sweep now, depending on, what they have in their hand. They have to have another Wheezing ready to go, or another basic. But again, not seeing any of the Greninja line is a little concerning. And then, hey, we'll just kind of see how this game plays out. But yeah, man, it just, like I said, there's some issues that I've got to take care of production-wise. Like, if you guys could see my setup, like with my green screen and stuff, it's a mess, just to be real honest. So, that's part of the reason why, sometimes the videos do look the way they do. But one of the first things that I learned when I was getting into YouTube was to make sure that your sound is good. Like, that's the thing that a lot of people harped on. They were like, hey, make sure your sound is, good. Make sure your microphone is, something that, your audience can definitely tell is quality. So, hey, may not have the most expensive video effects and all that, but, hey, we're working on it. We're working on it. And with your support, hey, we're going to get there. But yeah, this person probably rage quit after walking right into that knockout. But hey, this dark deck is going to be very popular, like Scolipede and whatnot. It's very popular. But yeah, I think they just rage quit, so we're going to have to sit here for like 2 minutes. Here we go for 3, 2, 1, 0, and unfortunately, you know, no refunds. This is a weekend of no refunds right here. So normally when I do these deck highlights, I try to make sure that I get decks that are like top tier decks, so that way you can kind of see how the decks that I'm highlighting go up against and how they fare against the top tier decks. But with this, I'm probably just going to go ahead and try to fire off these games really quickly and then get this video out for the weekend, just in case some people want to try this deck out for the tournament weekend. But again, you know, I do try to, you know, put a little bit of a quality control in terms of what decks I'm highlighting and featuring, especially, you know, when people are still trying to figure out what's solid, what's good, what cards can they start to, you know, play around with. But Druddigon definitely has some interesting capabilities, and I think that we're going to see this card, especially in the no EX format, for a while. But looks like we're going into a Serebii, I would assume superior deck, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and get 2 evolutions down on the board, and we're going through our deck pretty quickly. So, you know, this is pretty good. Obviously, a leaf would be great, but you know, hey, depending on this scenario, if they decide to attack, we could, you know, top deck a Greninja and then potentially hit the Serebii for 20 and then attack with Starmie for some good math. So there's a lot of scenarios here, and Druddigon makes a lot of interesting math. So that's one of the big reasons why, you know, you might see this card quite a bit, especially, you know, this upcoming weekend, which will be the first weekend of tournaments with Mythic Island legal. Okay, so opponent hits a double heads. So this is actually shaping up to be really interesting here. Because again, if we top deck Greninja, we're able to immediately return fire and knock this Serebii out, and then pretty much put them on a clock. So we'll send in the Starmie. There's 10 cards left in our deck, and we're going to draw 3. So yeah, there's the Greninja, so we didn't even need to sweat it too much. Yeah, we might see them concede. But again, you know, this is kind of the math that it can work out. And one reason why I do like this version as opposed to the Gyarados version is, like, the Gyarados version, no doubt, like, Gyarados is the tankiest stage 1 that we've seen so far. Like, that's a whole crazy element of the power creep. However, 4 energy to attack, and then it can hurt you as well on the effect. It can potentially slow you down, but you know, Starmie EX can just win games on its own, even without Greninja, even without, you know, Druddigon. But it just so happens that, you know, Druddigon makes Starmie math better, and Greninja obviously makes Starmie math better. It's still really hard to one-shot Starmie EXs, and so that's another reason, you know, why I really think that this card is very solid. But here we're just going to go ahead and let's just get some damage in on this Serebii. And obviously, if we would have drawn our Sabrina, we would have just won on the spot. But again, you know, hey, we're putting this Serebii down. They're probably going to have to Erica, and then, you know, they're going to hope that they have another threat that they can switch out to, because even with Erica, it's not going to be enough, right? So they're just kind of out of time. But again, this just kind of showcases the power of, you know, Druddigon with Greninja, you know, Druddigon with Starmie. It can present a lot of issues. Even if they have double potion, it doesn't matter, right? Like, they just had the best possible response that they could have, and it's just not enough. So really, really cool stuff here. And again, I think I do lean more towards this than Gyarados, but that doesn't mean that Gyarados is bad or, you know, a bad option. But man, Starmie is just, pound for pound, it's just so dang good, you know? Yeah, so we just attach here, and then we win the game. Okay, here we go. We got a game where we're going first. Let's see what we can open up with. We'll go with Druddigon, and we'll put this Froakie down as well. Let's see what they open up with. Okay, so this is another Serebii deck. All right, so we're just passing. It's a pretty rough hand to start with, but hey, we'll just see what we can do. Yeah, one thing I didn't put in the video is that we're only doing water energy. I wonder if that's going to be a question that people ask. Hopefully it's pretty obvious, you know, hey, we're just doing nothing but water energy, but I know that there's ways that you can fit fire energy if you're really ambitious. Yeah, let's chip the Serebii, and then next turn we can potentially knock out this Delmice. This is going to be a tough game, though. Depending on them using cards like Sabrina, and then obviously Superior on curve is really, really good. You know, it would be great if we had another bench Pokemon, so that way we could, you know, feel a little bit better about pivoting out of the active, but looks like they're just going to go straight in. I did not expect that. Like, I don't know if they know what my cards do, right? Like, that's got to be the case, right? Yeah, potion doesn't matter. So they're just banking on me not having the Starmie. So maybe they have red card? Nope. Okay. Yeah, so tough one for opponent here, because I mean, against most decks, like this is probably like one of the best hands that they could have, right? But in this case, it truly doesn't matter just because I have the Starmie EX. Now imagine if this is Gyarados, right? Like that's the thing that I have to keep trying to push home here. Yeah, so we'll just send in Starmie. Well, Staryu right now, but then we're going to push it up to a Starmie. Yeah, so they might even concede. I don't know how much they're going to want to stick around. But again, really cool deck. And I do like the Starmie aspect more than the Gyarados aspect for now. But man, Gyarados, like I said, so freaking tanky, man. And, you know, obviously with Giovanni, you can make math right on Mewtwo. But I do expect Mewtwo to pack that blue in their deck. And I think that that's going to be probably one of the main ways that they combat Gyarados is just, you know, maybe even, you know, teching the blue. Obviously teching cards like Sabrina. Or excuse me, teching cards like Jinx. Sabrina is just the card that got played on me, so that's what Freudian slip. But yeah, this doesn't matter. I mean, this game is over. And yeah, that is the deck, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck, and I hope that you stay tuned for more of my content. If you haven't checked out my video where I talk about some of the top decks, this deck is not featured, but there's some other banger decks that you should definitely check out. And again, there's another video where I go over the 15 best cards of Mythic Islands. Check that video out too. But until next time, I will catch you later. Peace.